I do know how to pick them, don't I? Let's get those ugly slides out of the frame. Nobody wants to see those. Hi and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be doing another episode of Read It or Unhaul It, in which I'm going to be tackling my physical TBR. We're going to be using the trusty TBR jar again, from which we're going to be picking a bunch of books that are on my physical TBR, and we're either going to read them or unhaul them. Now, I usually don't really DNF books, so I'm gonna read all the books, but I'm just at the end gonna decide whether to keep them or unhaul them. But I do plan on being more ruthless from now on, that if I'm not enjoying a book, I'm just gonna have to DNF it and unhaul it and move on, because we have a lot of books to get to. As you can see, this jar is completely full. So this is gonna work exactly as the previous two videos. We're gonna be reading the books and they're either gonna stay on my shelves or they're gonna be cut from my shelves. Last video, I upgraded the TBR jar by color coding them by genre. Now, I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of introduce something new every episode. I'm not sure for how long I can keep that up, but this episode I wanted to introduce the get out of jail free card, which basically means that if I really do not want to read a book that I pick, I don't have to immediately unhaul it, but I can use my get out of jail free cards so that I can put it back in this jar and I don't have to read it if I don't want to right now. If that makes sense. I can only have one get out of jail free card, so I'm gonna have to use it wisely. Shall we just pick our first book? I'm really excited. I love making these videos and you guys seem to love them as well. Okay, we're going to be picking this one. It's a red one, which means that it is a classic book. Let's see. I'll show you first, actually. It is. We got The Book Thief, which the only things I know about it is that it's really sad and that it's a massive book. Do I use my get out of jail free card right now? Or I think that's too early. I think that's way too early. I have to do it. Oh my god, this is a door stopper. This is a brick. It's a mammoth. It's 560 pages. I really was expecting more because it's so big. Okay, that sounds really it sounds really weird. It's a very beautiful edition. I got this one from my friend, I think 3 or 4 years ago, so it's been in my physical TBR for a really long time. So it's actually good that I'm getting to it. It's about Nazi Germany, books, book burnings, and they take in a Jew. Okay, this is gonna be really sad. The first book of this video is gonna be The Book Thief. Really wasn't expecting that, but let's go. Okay, so I'm actually already going to be picking my second book because first of all, we need to make some serious progress on my physical TBR. But secondly, I like to have some books in rotation. I like to be reading multiple books at the same time. Now that I'm reading The Book Thief, I want to have something else so that if The Book Thief gets a little too sad, I can switch it up and read something else. So we're going to be picking my second book of this video. Now, I do want something not so sad. So I think blue will be the best genre to pick. Okay, I'm gonna pick this blue one. Let's see what it is. It's Hear the Wind Sing and Pinball by Murakami, and I've actually already read this book, so we're just gonna move on to the next one. Let's just pick one randomly and hope that I haven't read it yet. Oh, it's a red one again. Okay, I have a lot of red ones, so it makes sense that I pick another red one. I will show you. It's A Mercy by Toni Morrison, I think. Okay, I have the book right here. I don't know much about the book, but there might be a big chance that this is going to be a sad one as well. So let's find out together. On the back it says, in the 1680s, the slave trade in America. It's about slavery. Oh my god. How possible that the two first books I pick are about Nazi Germany and slavery? That is insane. Jacob Vark is an Anglo-Dutch trader. He takes a small slave girl in part payment for a bad debt from a plantation owner in Catholic Maryland. A Mercy reveals what lies beneath the surface of slavery, but at its heart, it's the ambivalent, disturbing story of a mother and a daughter. I do know how to pick them, don't I? It is quite a small book. It's under 200 pages, so I'm just gonna give it a try. I don't know what to tell you. Let's just get started. Hi, I'm here with an update. I'm 130 pages into the book Thief. I've just finished part 2 and I'm now starting on part 3, which is called Mein Kampf. So, looking forward to that. This book has been a bit of a snooze fest and I'm not really looking forward to reading 400 more pages of this. The story so far has been about this girl and she kind of gets adopted by this family because her own family is dead. It's set in Germany during World War II, so we get this little girl's perspective. It's been interesting to read such a book from a little kid's perspective, but up until now the story has been mostly about her just learning the alphabet, so it's been a bit boring, but at the same time it's just really sad because you can see that she doesn't understand everything that's happening. Now this book is narrated by Death, which is kind of unique, I would say, but we haven't seen much of his character yet, so I cannot say really what I think about it. We move between the characters of Death and the little girl, and the little girl has just been a bit boring, and Death has been a bit weird because whenever someone dies, Death comes to collect their souls, and apparently the sky turns this kind of color, and Death is very fascinated by which color the sky turns when somebody dies. So in the beginning of the book, someone dies and the sky colors brown. And Death says something along the lines that he likes to eat the sky, likes to suck on the sky, so that has been quite a strange combination. But I have more than 400 pages to go. Whenever I read books, especially books that actually happened, I just feel a lot for the characters. And when they suffer, I just feel so bad for them and I'm really feeling it right now. So I will continue with this book and I will see you when I either have a breakdown or I have something more to say. Hopefully the latter. I've made it 300 pages into the book, but I'm sad to tell you that I will be DNFing it right here. I'm calling it quits because I cannot take 200 pages more of this. The book just really feels like it's not for my age group. It feels really young, really childish, and it does not trust you to figure anything out by yourself. Some chapters will start by saying something that has a double meaning, and then they expect you to kind of question the whole chapter what the double meaning is. And then it's this big reveal at the end. It actually had a double meaning. Honestly, this book has just been really boring. Our main character, Lee Sol, she has no personality. And this book up until now has just been her learning the alphabet, learning to read, and stealing a couple of books. And the character of Death just randomly comes in and gives you these facts that are very unnecessary to the story. They're kind of just teasers for what's to come, but it really interrupts the flow of the book, and it didn't really excite me to continue to read. This is the Dutch version of the book, and there's a lot of German used in the book because it takes place in Germany. But German can be very similar to Dutch sometimes. So this book will have a German word and then it will have the translation after it, but it just looks like the same word twice because Dutch is sometimes very similar. I don't know if that affected my reading experience, but I cannot imagine what the book would be like in German. I hope they kind of adjusted that. So I've really not been enjoying this book, and I just feel like I don't want to read 200 pages more of this. This is going to be our first DNF of the video, which means that I have to unhaul it, which I'm actually really sad about because this was a highly anticipated book for me. I've seen a lot of people really enjoy it. I feel like right now I'm just maybe a little too old for this, and maybe I would have loved it 10 years ago. And this copy was also gifted to me by my friend, so I'm really sad that I have to unhaul it, but I'm really not enjoying this story, so this one is gonna go. Next up, I read A Mercy by Toni Morrison, which really surprised me. I'm in love with this book. I am in awe of her writing. It is such a gorgeous story, and I'm just really happy that I read it. This book is about multiple women primarily, and Toni Morrison kind of tells their story of how they are living, what they're thinking about, how their living conditions are, but she tells it in such a beautiful way. Even though the back of the book mostly talks about the man, I feel like the story was more about the women, or at least that's how I interpreted it. I would highly recommend that you read this book. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think it was beautifully written and just an amazing story. I definitely want to read more by Toni Morrison. I know A Mercy is, I think, her 12th book, I think it said. So I have a lot of other works to read. I know Beloved is one of her most famous books, so I cannot wait to get to that one. But I would highly recommend A Mercy. Now, this copy is getting a bit old and falling apart. It's a little bit orange, so I think I am going to get rid of this copy because I just don't want it on my shelves. But it's not because I didn't like the book. I think the book is great. Okay, now that I've finished these 2 books, we need to pick our next read. So we're gonna grab the TBR jar. I actually think I have a fun idea. Hello, Books with Coffee's fans. This sort of frame is my sister, and I thought it would be a fun idea for her to pick my next read. So, have you seen this before? You can pick one randomly. Light blue is non-fiction, blue is like everything else, pink is fantasy, so maybe fantasy is gonna be a little bit more happy. I've just read a book about Nazi Germany and a book about slavery, so we need a happy book next. So can you do that?
I shall try my best.
You shall try your best, thank you. She picked the pink one. Okay, she picked this one, which says Cloud Cuckoo Land. I don't know what this is about, let's see.
His whole family is dead.
Across time and space, 5 young dreamers are bound by a single ancient text. Together they tell a story of a world in peril, of the power of words, of resilience and hope against all odds. But the thing is, if I don't read it, I have to unhaul it. That's a challenge, read it or unhaul it. But I still have my get out of jail free card, so I can use it on this one. Okay, we'll keep this. My sister's gonna pick another option. If that one's better, then I'll use my get out of jail free card. It's very difficult. How many do you want me to read?
Lessons in chemistry.
I guess I'll be reading Lessons in Chemistry. Where is it?
You sound so excited.
I'm not excited. Where is it?
Lessons in chemistry.
Lessons in Chemistry. Do you know anything about this book?
I know the series.
This book is about a chemist who is like the only female in her field and then gets pregnant or something. She's not allowed to be a chemist anymore, and then she starts to teach. So she starts to teach lessons in chemistry. So you actually did a very good job picking not a sad book, not one about war or death, hopefully.
What about that?
Thank you so much for picking my book. I will start reading this. Maybe next time you should pick my book as well. Look, you're being paid. Come on.
Oh, am I? Subscribe now to Books at Coffees. Like, share, and comment on what you think about these books. Yes.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
No.
Do we need to repeat that?
Death? Do we need
Do we need to repeat
death?
that?
You saw that my sister picked Lessons in Chemistry for me, and I've now read about 100 pages, and I have to say this book starts off really boring. I was around page 60, 70. I almost wanted to DNF the book because this was really not what I was expecting of it. I mean, it's promised to be a book about feminism, about chemistry, and I was getting this regular romance that was really not interesting to me. The book starts off really slow in my opinion, and it's just talking about this couple, and I really wasn't interested in that. But I kept going, and I think around page 70 there is a big twist that comes, and I have to say I really was not expecting the twist. I was really in shock when I read the twist. I won't spoil it for you in case you want to read it or watch the show, but I have to say I really did not expect this plot twist. I was blown away. I was in shock. And I wish I was filming at the time because it was such a great reaction, but of course I didn't know the twist was coming. You know, the book changed completely after that. It was a major twist, and I'm enjoying the book much more ever since that point. As I said, I'm 100 pages in, so there's a lot left to read. I don't know what's going to happen next. The book has become much more interesting, and it's actually starting to talk about chemistry and cooking, which was what I was looking forward to. I am really enjoying the book, actually. I am liking it right now. I don't know what the rest of the book is going to be about. I feel like there's not a lot of setup in the beginning of the book to really, set up for the rest of the plot, but I'm excited to see where the rest of this book goes. I really don't know what to expect. I don't know if there's going to be any major twists like that again, or if this was just the one. So that's how I feel about the book right now. I will continue reading it, and I'll see you when something major happens or when I finish the book. I have now finished reading Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis, and I'm going to give you my full thoughts on this book. I think the last thing I told you was that I read the twist, which happens quite early on in the book, but everything that happens before that twist was very boring to me, so I'm happy that it happened this quickly into the book, and the book really got better from that point. The twist made the book much more interesting. It just differentiated the book so much from other romances or contemporary books. It really took a different approach to motherhood that I don't think I have ever seen that before in books. Yeah, I'm very happy that I read it. I think it's a good book. I think it's unique, and we need more unique and fresh books on the market. I do think some aspects about the story were not that interesting to me. I feel like the strength of the book lays in the mother and how she kind of balances motherhood and her career. And I feel like the book explores those topics in a very interesting and unique way. And the parts where it's about the father and his background and the boy's home and the reverend feel just very out of place to me. They're quite boring as well. I don't understand why the reverend begins a friendship with the 8-year-old. I found that very weird. The parts about Elizabeth were really great, and they are what makes this book interesting. So I would recommend this book. I don't know what to rate it. I feel like it is a bit of a 3-star, but it did have, you know, unique and interesting aspects that make it a little bit more towards the 3.5, 4-star. So I think I'm just gonna say 3.5, but I'm not gonna unhaul it. So yeah, that's Lessons in Chemistry. Now we're gonna pick our next book. Okay, here I have the TBR jar again. So let's pick our next book. Let's try to maybe not pick a red one again and see if we get another fun book. Okay, we got another blue one. So it's again a contemporary book, probably. Let's see what it is. It's Kim Jiyoung, born 1982. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Here we have it. Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, by Cho Nam-ju. I'm very sorry. It is again a book about feminism, so we're kind of starting a trend here. It's not that long. It's just under 200 pages, so I think it's gonna be a quick read. This is the most important book to have emerged from South Korea since The Vegetarian. Wow, that's high praise. So I'm very excited to read this book. As I said, I don't know much about this book, but I think it's about a woman and inequality in South Korea. I can't believe we got 2 feminist books in a row, but I am really interested, and I will see you when I have an update. Hi, I'm now 100 pages into this book and I'm planning on finishing it today. I have about 60 pages left, so I am almost done with the story. And this is a very unique book. It combines nonfiction with fiction, which I haven't seen it done like this before. The character Kim Jiyoung is a fictional character. The story is fictional, but it actually has references to real research and newspapers. So the story could be an actual experience, and that's the point of this book. The book follows our character Kim Jiyoung through multiple stages of life. So it will start in childhood and I assume it will end in her adulthood. I haven't made it that far in yet, but it basically shows all the ways that she is treated differently because she's a woman. And the author kind of uses this fictional story to make you aware of all these statistics. It kind of gives this feeling of humanity to these statistics because you can finally see a face with it. Even if you're not in that position, even if you don't live in South Korea, even if you're not a woman, you can see the real life scenario of what's happening to this woman instead of just reading about the statistics, which I feel like is a very smart way to approach this, because it kind of, you know, you empathize with the character, whereas if she would just give you these statistics, these facts, you might feel more distant, whereas now you can really attach it to a character. The reality of misogyny, specifically in South Korea, but this happens in places all over the world. I feel like this is a very important read, and I understand why it's been getting so much hype these past years. It angers me so much to read about this. A lot of things I can really recognize from my own life, which I think is the point of the book. So I think it's really succeeding at that. and I feel like it's an important read for people who might not know about this or who might not experience this in their daily life. I think it's important that these topics are highlighted. Ultimately, I think this book is, very important, and I think it's a very good book, but it's not enjoyable. I didn't have a fun time reading it. Not every book has to be enjoyable, but I'm trying to give my honest review, and it's not a fun book. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know if it's going to end on kind of an uplifting message or it's going to end, even more depressing. So we'll have to see. I will finish this book today probably, and then I'll see you for my final thoughts. I've now finished reading this book, and I still feel very similar as to when I last updated you guys. I think the book is very difficult and confronting and raging. I think it's really important to talk about these topics and give them more exposure through media and books. And I think it's very brave of this author and very beautiful that she was able to write this book. This is a very sensitive and difficult topic, especially if you're a victim of this, but I'm very happy that she did. I think what the author is trying to do is kind of expose us to these statistics of how misogyny works in South Korea. And she didn't just want to shove these statistics down our throat. She came up with a very relatable main character that goes through these events, and we kind of relate to her, we feel for her, we empathize with her, and through that we get to learn about real misogyny that is actually happening or happened in South Korea. I feel like that's a very smart way to kind of expose the reader to this topic without making it too technical or too distant. The main character actually gives us someone to connect to, someone to feel for, to empathize with, and I feel like that's a very smart way to approach this. So I think this book is very well done, and I would highly recommend that you read it. I like that this book doesn't try to make it seem better than it is, but it ultimately ends up being quite a sad and depressing book. As I said, I think it's important, I think it's good, I think it's very necessary to have these kind of books, but I don't think this book actually gave me anything new. Maybe I was not the right audience. Maybe this is more for someone who doesn't know a lot about the topic. I did not enjoy reading it. So I'm feeling very mixed, as you can tell. I'm feeling very mixed about this book. I don't think I want to unhaul it. So that's how I'm feeling about this book. This is the 4th book of this video. We're gonna do another one, but I kind of want to let my sister pick again. I will see her tonight, so I will see you then, I guess, when she picks my 5th book. Shake it up?
Yes.
Let's see. Een Oscar Wilde, die wilde ik eigenlijk lezen.
Nice.
En je bent een genius.
Pure skill.
I actually don't think I've introduced this book yet, but I've been reading A House of Pomegranates by Oscar Wilde. My sister picked this book for me, and the prompt actually said an Oscar Wilde novel, but when I was writing that prompt, I meant one of his works from this book. This is the complete illustrated works of Oscar Wilde, which includes his only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and his short stories and all of his plays. Now, I've already read The Picture of Dorian Gray, so my sister picked A House of Pomegranates, which is a collection of 4 short stories. All are kind of fairy tale-esque. These all have magical beings in them. One has a mermaid, the other has a dwarf. So they're all very whimsical and magical, and I really enjoyed reading them. Just every work I read by Oscar Wilde is so good. Like, he's one of those authors whose works are just consistently very good. So I think I can definitely say Oscar Wilde is one of my favorite authors. So this one is no different. I've really enjoyed these short stories. So these short stories in particular are not just for the vibes, they also have something to think about, they have something to chew on, which I really like. All of these short stories have some kind of ethical problem that Oscar Wilde gives his opinion about. I do have to say that I enjoyed the first 2 way more than the last 2. I think the first 2 stories stuck with me the most. I felt like they had a lot of interesting thoughts and discussions, and also very beautiful scenario, whereas the last 2 were a lot longer and they had way less satisfying pacing. So I definitely like the first 2 better, but overall I really enjoyed reading all of them. I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars because not all of them were equally as good, but I really enjoyed reading all of them. So this is gonna get a 4 star, which means I'm not gonna unhaul this collection. I can't wait to read all of his other works and his plays, and I'm very happy to have it all here. So that was the last book of this video. Here are all the books that we read in this video. We started with The Book Thief, which unfortunately I DNF'd, so I'm going to have to unhaul. Then we read A Mercy, which I really loved, but I am gonna unhaul this copy from my shelves, but I would recommend the book. Then we read Lessons in Chemistry, which I'm not gonna unhaul. Then this book, which I also loved and I'm not gonna unhaul. And then lastly, A House of Pomegranates by Oscar Wilde, which I also loved. So we had some really good ones in this video. This is really heavy, so I'm gonna put it down. So we had some really good books in this video. Most of them I'm gonna keep, so I'm really happy about that. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to see another episode of Read It or Unhaul It, then let me know in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video.